What's up, YouTube? I'm the CowCar131, and this video we're going to be testing or timing how long rolls of duct tape will burn. For my few loyal subscribers, I'm sure you're probably wondering, that's a really weird video. For those of you that are new, I suppose, please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. But most of my videos revolve around guns or gear or armor testing, ammo testing, stuff like that. So this testing duct tape is kind of weird, right? But the sort of backstory, I guess, I'm a pretty avid watcher of a channel called Corporals Corner. I'll link it in the description along with the video where I got the inspiration for this from. But awesome channel, Corporals Corner. If you're looking for sort of wilderness survival or overnight camping with minimal gear, stuff like that. He's an instructor with the Pathfinder school, the survival school, so he kind of knows what he's talking about. I watched a video last night, I suppose, over him going over ways to make a fire with wet wood. Ironic, because now that it started raining now. But in that video, which I'll also link in the description, his the tinder source he used, because everything was wet, the tinder source he used was rolled up bits of duct tape. Now I have a couple different versions of duct tape and just tape in general I'm going to try, but the basic idea is, as the way he did it and the way I'm copying, take roughly 18 inches, which I actually measured also because of that video, from the tip of my finger to my elbow, the crook of my elbow, roughly 18, 19 inches. So just take a strip of tape, stick right here, bring it down here, rip it, and then just kind of roll it up into a little cigar shape, light it, and that's how he used 3 of them in his video. But that is how he got a fire going with wet wood. So I was curious, how long will the strips, those 18-inch rolled up strips of duct tape, last and burn? So let's find out. All right, so I've retreated inside the garage while it is raining, but the couple different types of tape that I had here, I had to stick with stuff that's mostly this like 2-inch tape. It's not going to be very fair testing how long a strip of tape will work if I have like a 1-inch roll, which is why I don't have any Gorilla brand duct tape here, but I have Duct tape, like the Duct brand duct tape, nice and pink, very, very classy, I know. And some Dollar General super cheap style duct tape. 3M Scotch shipping tape. This one, I really don't know what to expect out of this one, but we'll see what it does. And I have some T-Rex brand brute force, pretty thick stuff. I'm expecting this one to last the longest. All right, let's see how this works. I have a ammo can lid here just so I'm not, burning into my table here, but about to go out. I'll call it 9 minutes. So, Dollar General brand, 18-inch rolled up little cigar shaped sort of duct tape, burned for 9 minutes, and it was actually still going. I could have let it go a little bit longer, but in all honesty, it was probably have been not very effective towards the end there, and it was just barely burning there. But next up, we got the sexy pink duct tape here. See how long this one will go for. Pretty interesting here. I'd say this is about a similar sort of flame size to what the oh, might be on screen, but the Dollar General brand up here did, and kind of similar flame size at the end, and we're at roughly the same time. I mean, this one seems to have lasted a little bit longer, but we're, once again, I'm going to call it, This is kind of the point of it's still burning, but it's not really usable. But that one's interesting because as you'll recall, I might slow the sped up video down so you can hear, but I motioned in at like 2.5 minutes, and it looked like it was about halfway burnt through. Very interesting that it seemed to go through like half of this in 2.5. 9.5 is what it took till I called it. So that's pretty interesting there that it took that long to kind of finish up there. And it looks like there was some on the bottom. I think that could have went a little bit even longer if you had messed with it, maybe flipped it over so it had some more of this to burn. As opposed to the Duct or the Dollar General brand, this doesn't really look much like duct tape anymore at all. Versus the duct tape brand. This is pretty clearly still, duct tape. Third one up, we're going to be doing this 3M packing tape. This one, I'm really not sure what to expect out of this one. I don't think this one's going to burn nearly as well or as long. Coming up on 3.5 minutes here, and hopefully you can kind of see this. I'd say we're approaching the same rough amount of fire here that I've called the other ones at, where it's still burning, but it's such a tiny amount, it's basically unusable. So, interesting results here. I'm not overly surprised. 3.5 minutes, roughly the 3M packing tape. Last but not least, T-Rex Brute Force. This is the one, honestly, that I'm expecting the most out of. This tape, you can see just one roll there, how kind of thick and substantial that is. This is definitely a more premium sort of tape. It feels a lot thicker. It feels like it's going to be just more substantial and burn longer, is what I'm guessing. But let's find out. Starting to approach that point where the amount of flame here is getting to be what I would say not really usable. It's so small, you'd have a hell of a time trying to get a fire lit with this. So I'll call it about 12.5 minutes for the T-Rex Brute Force there. Not overly surprising in my opinion. The tape itself is thicker, it feels more premium, so not super surprising. I think that it lasted quite a bit longer, honestly. Some final thoughts on this test here. I'm doing it in the garage on account of still raining outside. So, some again final thoughts on this test. Interesting results, I would say. Both the Dollar General brand duct tape as well as the sexy pink Duck brand duct tape. I looked up rough general kind of prices. I want to say these are both going to be around $4 or $5 roughly. Uh, they both did a lot better than I thought they would. I figured 3 or 4 minutes, probably something like that. Oh no. Both of these, once again, roughly, tip of my finger to my elbow, roughly 18 inches, rolled up into a little sort of cigar sort of shape. Both of them got what I would say, again, very subjective, but quote unquote usable flame, like a large enough amount of flame coming off of the duct tape to really use. Around 8 to 9 minutes ish, roughly something like that, which is a lot more than I would have expected. Now, I'm not overly surprised that the T-Rex Brute Force duct tape lasted a pretty good amount of time longer. I would say, again, that usable flame was closer to 11 to 12 minutes out of this. Now, again, I kind of expected that. It's a thicker tape. There's just going to be more material to burn. It feels more premium. Not overly surprising in my opinion. The other two did surprise me. Now, the 3M Scotch packing tape, That didn't surprise me either. I didn't expect it to last all that long. There's just not a whole lot to it, as opposed to duct tape. It's stereotypically thicker and it's tougher than just packing tape. So if you're looking to do something like this, I would definitely say steer clear of packing tape or anything like that. Stick to actual duct tape. But I think this is a very good. This could be a very good fire starter or fire source to put in your bug out bag, your get home bag, your camping bag, your emergency bag, your end of the world bag, whatever name you want to use for the same general sort of concept of throw this in your fire kit, something like that. Take just 2 or 3 little, those little rolled up rolls, and you'll have a pretty long amount of a good open fire to get a fire going. If you can't get a fire going, even in kinda wet conditions, with 9 minutes of fire, you need to go back to the drawing board because something ain't working right. But, uh, I would say even I don't know if it's even really worth it, I would say, to get something like this, the more premium duct tape, considering it did absolutely burn longer. And this, I want to say again, I looked up the prices. The 2 cheaper ones, the duct tape and the Duck brand, and the Dollar General, like 4 or 5. This is closer to like 7 or 8, roughly. I could have got the exact like versions of that. The price is a little wrong, but this is going to be a little bit more expensive, but I don't know if it, lasts long enough to make that extra little bit of money worth it. Like 11 and a half to 8 and a half. Not that much difference considering you can go to Dollar General, spend probably like 3 or 4 bucks, get this, just little 18-inch strips. You can get a lot of those out of this. So, if you're looking to add something like this to your fire kit, I think it's a very good method of having a long-lasting open fire source. Now, some downsides to it, of course, if the tape is wet, it's probably not going to work at all. And also, the fact is, you need a lighter. You need an open flame for this. Is that going to make it as cool or sexy as more bushcrafty ways of making a fire? No. Is it also still going to be pretty effective in a large amount of situations where, let's be honest, you should have a Bic lighter with a real flame anyway. Yes. So I think rolls of duct tape are a very effective, very long lasting fire source or a fire starter. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it informative, entertaining, egregious, whatever, please tell me in the comments below. I'd appreciate to hear it. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that too. I'm the Car 131, signing off.